Yeah, I'm declaring war on Scott Galloway and any other older man with this kind of stupid ass advice.
I think we need to stop demonizing and start celebrating young men's horniness. It makes them better men. It makes them want to shower. It makes them want to have an economic plan. It makes them want to have girlfriends so they can figure out a way to behave around other women. It makes you kinder. A movement I hate, Ross, I hate the incel movement. I think it is such this notion that women have such high standards that they can never be successful. Well, welcome to the work week, boss. For 99% of history, 99% of men have been involuntarily celibate for 99% of the time. There are a few men that wouldn't rather be doing something else more right now than having sex. And it's a motivator for us to be better men. No man has the right to reproduce. You got to work for it.
This video demonstrates exactly why Gen X men need to leave the conversation, because you are the reason that we have the crisis with young men that we do. I see a lot of millennials right now wondering why Gen Z hates them so much. Just constant ridicule, even though they constantly steal our style and our music, but I digress. It's not rocket science. Gen X fathers hated millennials, especially us elder millennials, the first ones. I can't tell you how many times early in my career I got called entitled for no reason other than just being a millennial. All because we had the audacity to actually be ourselves. Gen X men were offered no emotional support from their fathers, usually ignored, sometimes disciplined. This resulted in them being fiercely independent, but severely lacking empathy. That's why most of them voted for Trump. For their sons, they were definitely around more, so they broke that generational curse, but they still had the same role. Mom still did everything around the house and worked, and the boys were just left to screens that gave them the male leadership and advice that they were looking for at home. But it led them down an even darker path than their fathers. 1980s meet 2020s. I mention that because Scott Galloway's attitude in this video simply reflects the same damaging parenting style. Men shouldn't be taking care of themselves because they're horny, although now we know that's why Scott Galloway does. Men don't love themselves, and so they try to change into what they think a man should be. But there's no difference in what a man should be compared to what a woman should be. I, as you can probably tell, am not a particularly feminine guy. I like sports, played ball all my childhood. I love to work with my hands, something I don't think Scott Galloway has ever done, and do a little woodworking from time to time. But that's where I left it most of my life, until I crashed. And the things that I thought that I was, or the things that men were supposed to be, wasn't enough. I was empty, because I didn't know who I was. At this point, a lot of men turn to any number of dark solutions. But unlike a lot of other men, I had a lot of love around me in this moment. And people, primarily my wife, who knew what self-love was. So I just started copying things people did, especially her, masculine or feminine. I was willing to try anything, and in the process, I found me. I found the things that made me happy and developed a confidence to be the way that I wanted to be in order to be happy. Or I shouldn't say happy, just normal. I think that's good enough for all of us. Other men, especially in sports, are really good at completely stripping this away from you. Try going into a locker room and talking about the latest musical you just saw. And yes, Les Mis was one of the things that made me sob in this process, and I love it. I've also started just overall healthier habits, like even basic skincare routines. I've of course got a long way to go and will never be all the way there. That's the fun of life. But it's the process of discovery that makes you appreciate yourself for who you are. That's what men need. They need environments where they can figure out who they want to be without that being torn away from them. You don't need to destroy yourself just to get a girl. A relationship should simply be a partnership, and a partnership can be different for everyone. And it doesn't work for everyone. Single is fine too. I'm obviously not a woman, but I think this is what they want. They want us to go through this process and develop some semblance of emotional intelligence. They want someone that can help them through life, not burden them. And I know none of us try to be a burden. In fact, it's the opposite for most of us. But that energy that we use to avoid being a burden is going to the wrong place. Don't use it to run yourself into the ground. You'll just turn into a monster. Use it to find yourself, and you'll get that girl if you want one, and they will be very grateful.